What's up YouTube? KidMoto22 here, and I'm coming to you guys today to talk to you about whether or not we're seeing an end of an era with Harley-Davidson and the Milwaukee 8 motor. So let's get to that right now. Welcome back YouTube, KidMoto22 here, and if you saw in my intro and you saw in my thumbnail, I'm speculating whether or not we're seeing an end of an era of the Milwaukee 8 motor for Harley-Davidson. I was reading an article and I came across a couple of things that made me think about whether or not we're going to see some big changes for the Milwaukee 8 motor and some of the lineups that we've been used to for the last few years. So I was reading this article and it showed some patents that Harley recently filed. And when I say recent, this isn't really that new. They filed these patents in 2019. The patents became effective in 2021. And so the first one that I want to talk to you guys about is a frame patent. And so I read through the information and it kind of talks about the different parts of the frame. It didn't show any pictures, at least not any that I could find in this patent. But essentially what this was is a patent for a new frame design. Now, whether or not this frame design patent was for the Sportster S, I think that frame design patent probably came much before this patent did. I'm speculating whether or not this patent might be for a new touring model to fit the Revolution Max motor. That's what I'm speculating about. I don't think that this patent is early enough for the Sportster S. The other thing is during that same time frame, they filed a patent for two motor designs. Now, they both have the VVT, which is variable valve timing, and we know that this is something that's in the Revolution Max motor. So I'm speculating that the Revolution Max motor, not only do we know it's going to have some smaller, smaller displacements because it's supposed to be a modular motor, I'm wondering if they didn't design this to have some larger displacements to put in a touring model. And with the way technology is and the different ride modes that this motor seems to have, we've seen it in the Pan America, we see it in the Sportster S, why couldn't they put a larger displacement model of this motor in a touring chassis and have a touring a lineup for their touring models that would include touring modes, I should say. So that was a little tongue twisted to get that out. But ride modes for touring that would include, like a touring mode for better gas mileage, a sport mode if you wanted to ride your touring model in the twisties, things like that, modes that would be, maybe a mode for two-up riding that would maybe change the torque range or the values of what it's like to ride your bike when it's more laden down. I think all of these things are a possibility with technology and the way that we're seeing some of these things advance. I also think that how fast technology is changing and how quickly things are getting to the marketplace, and really as consumers, how we want things quicker, maybe our thought process in these motor models lasting about 10 years, which has been kind of the industry standard, except for, obviously the Evo, which is an exception to the rule. Maybe we're going to see a shortened version of that. Maybe these models now last 6 years and we move on to the next one. We do know that the Revolution Max is in a Sportster model to start with, and we do know that there's going to be some smaller displacements of that coming out, and these are specifically to address the issues that we know in the European marketplace with the Euro 5 emission standards, where the 883 just doesn't meet those anymore. So I think the 883 is long in the tooth. I think we've seen the last of that. We know it's coming out in 2022. I think that they're getting all their stock out of the corporation, and the 883s are all going to be put out in the marketplace. And next year, you're going to see that Revolution Max come out in smaller displacements. I personally don't think that that's going to be a mid-year release. I think that is going to be its own release on its own year, kind of like what we're going to see here on the 26th. On the 26th, I believe we are going to see a focus on a 117 displacement in touring models, a 117 displacement in the Lowrider S touring package. So that's kind of what I'm speculating, is that the M8 could be on its last legs as we know it in some of these models, as we see the Revolution Max kind of move into that space. That's what I'm speculating about. that's what I'm bringing to you guys today. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I'll put a link to another video up over here or over here that you might like. Again, as always, I'll put a subscription here or here, and subscribing is always free. So thank you guys for watching. This is Kid Moto. I'm out.